Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. Today I want to do another discussion video, and obviously by the title of the video is about Costco spas, or Costco hot tubs. So about 3.5 years ago, roughly, I picked up a Aquaterra Adriana spa from Costco, and it was delivered, of course. Not something you could pick up yourself, I believe, at a big box store. So I made a couple videos about the quality, about what I thought about it, and more importantly, the delivery process. So I'm going to put up another follow-up video. This is kind of a fun one for me because I like to follow up with products and re-review products. Now, unfortunately, I know you don't see the hot tub here, so you just have to take my word for it. But also, you can check out my other videos where I showcase the hot tub and show you guys what it looks like. And the reason I like to do these videos is because it's kind of like a haha to all those knucklehead morons who commented on the video stating that, oh, this will last you 6 months. It is still amazing to me, after all these years of doing this, how ridiculous and how moronic people are. You know, I understand that you could buy a product and have good or bad luck with anything, but that can be said for any brand, any price point, across the board on anything, right? It's just amazing the mindset of people to actually take the time out of their day to look at a video, obviously not like the product, and then to actually take the time out of their pathetic days to comment on it, right? And not even, like, I can understand commenting on something if you're like had a question. I've done it. Hey, you know, I'm not unclear on this. What do you think about this? You know, totally fine, right? But when it comes to somebody just hating, it really is incredible to me. But they say if you don't have haters, you're not doing something right. And so, yeah, it seems like I have a lot these days. But fortunately, most of them are pretty positive comments. But I do want to address this because if you are looking to buy a hot tub from a big box store, I don't want you to go around and listen to other people in some of these mom and pop shops and get discouraged. Now, there's nothing wrong with buying something from a mom and pop hot tub shop. You may not have the means to be able to muscle one in yourself. Maybe you don't have a couple buddies. Whatever the case may be, there is something to be said about buying locally, and of course buying from a place that's going to include setup. The thing is that these businesses don't do this out of the goodness of their heart. You're paying. All that's factored into the cost. That extra service you're getting, that one-on-one personalized setup, all that stuff is stuff that you can find out on the internet. You can educate yourself about a brand. And, you know, it's not something you really need to pay for. Now, I'm not going to dissuade anybody. If you want to buy a hot tub from a big box store or from a small mom-and-pop shop rather than a big box store, by all means, knock yourself out. Like I tell everybody with every product I've ever reviewed, always buy from where you feel most comfortable and you feel good about, right? It's going to make your purchase fun, and you're not going to have buyer's remorse. So, let me just talk about my experience in case you missed those other videos. The hot tub process when buying from a place like Costco is pretty straightforward. Unfortunately, when you buy for the very first time, it's a little bit confusing as far as knowing what to expect. So what's going to happen is when you buy a hot tub from a place like Costco, you'll most likely buy it online unless you live in an area that has the hot tubs on display. I do not. You'll buy it online, and you'll notice that they won't charge your card. That money won't come out of your account. It won't be billed to your account. It gets billed and charged once the hot tub ships. So a shipping company will call you and set up a ship date. You will pick that date and time, and they will deliver it curbside. Now, excuse me. Now, for me, okay, I'm not one to really depend on other people. I really like to do things by myself, and I don't like to ask for help. It's not a pride thing. I just really don't want to be bothered with people, right? Now, there are a few close friends I have that I wouldn't mind asking for help, but ultimately, once I get going on a project, I just want to do it by myself and get it done. So when I had a hot tub delivered, I could have called a few buddies, had them over here, not knowing what to expect. But what I ended up doing is when they come curbside, again, depending on where you live and how you're going to have this delivered, I was like, well, what, you know, is it going to be a big giant truck? How is the truck going to make it up my street? Are they going to have to park on the next street over? Wasn't really sure how the process works. Fortunately, it's going to be not your standard box truck, not your semi truck, at least in my case. It was about your, I don't know, the one in between. It's not like the super huge truck. It's bigger than a UPS truck. I'm trying to think of a truck. It might... Just think of semi-truck, half the size of a semi-truck, but bigger than like a UPS truck, right? So they can get into smaller, you know, streets, of course. My biggest issue is my driveway is on a hill and my street is on a hill, and so there's really no parking on my street. It was kind of a little bit of an unknown as far as how I'm going to get this hot tub onto a four-wheel dolly by myself and into my backyard knowing that it's going to be on the side of a hill, right? It could be pretty dangerous. I don't want the thing rolling down the road. So what I would recommend, and again, take this how you want to take it. I made sure I had $100 in my pocket extra, right? Whatever your budget may be. I think 100's, I think it was 100. I think it was 100. And again, you'll have to look at my other videos. If I misspeak, I apologize. I'm pretty sure it was $100. And what I did is basically have a little bit of tip money there, right? So when these guys drop it off, I went ahead and said, hey, is there any way you can get it up to the driveway? Now, or up to the garage door. Because they have two big, strong guys, So I had the four-wheel dolly ready. They basically pulled it out of the back of the truck, lowered it down, put it right on the four-wheel dolly, and they were like, yeah, no problem. So they wheeled it right up there. Now, I didn't say anything at first because I didn't tell them that, hey, I'll pay you. They were nice enough. I think they just saw that my little 4'9" mom and my dad, he's like 5'6". We're not huge people, right? Or big people for that matter, right? We're pretty short people. I think he saw my mom, was like, how is this guy gonna do this? So they were nice enough to just, as a favor, wheel it all the way up the driveway and get it right near the garage door. Now, I could have just not said anything, but, I really appreciated them doing that, so I gave them the tip. And I think I gave them $100. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I should have checked before I made this video. Anyway, so just having some tip money, trust me, it'll be worth your while to do that if you have a situation like mine. Now, if it was my parents' street where there's no hills or anything like that and it's pretty flat, I probably would have just had no problem just having them put it curbside and then muscling into the driveway myself. In my case, that was kind of the risk factor there because of the hill, the rounded curb, not something I want to have my 4'9" mom helping me with, and I didn't really want to call anybody to get some help. So, again, have a little bit of money with you, whether you need it or not. And then once I had it up near the garage door, I was able to get some of the plastic off it. And then I knew that the size of the hot tub was going to fit through the garage door. Now in my case, I had to bring it through the garage and out the back patio door. Again, my door is pretty wide, but before I bought it, I knew that the thing was going to fit. Now, unfortunately, I was able to keep it wrapped up in most of the plastic and get it through the door. Once I got near the door, the plastic is so thick and the cardboard so thick on this thing, I was actually able to kind of drag it through the door without damaging the tub. Once I got back into the backyard, I put it back on the four-wheel dolly and gently got it into position. Now the hard part, once you get there, is bringing it from, unwrapping it, getting it from the side, and lowering it down. There's no handles on these hot tubs. So what I was able to do, the tub weighs about, I think, 380, 400 pounds. I was able to get my fingers underneath the tub to provide a little bit of grip, and then kind of use my body weight and push up against it and gently lower it down onto the patio. Again, depends on your physical fitness level. Some people have back problems. Probably not something I should have did, but it worked out. Once you get into position, then you can start setting it up and filling it. Now, with a lot of plug-and-play hot tubs like the one I got, a lot of them will be like a hybrid. You can convert it to 220 if you want. Now, I didn't go through the process of converting it. One of my coworkers was like, hey, before you do that and pay for an electrician and go through all that hassle, and let me tell you, if you think that you're going to have an electrician come in for a couple $100 and put in a 220 line if you don't have one already, you are mistaken. I got a few price quotes looking at $1,800 to $2,000 to put in a 220 line, a distance of 15 feet. And my box is right near the back of the garage. So I'm sure it'd be more if you had a longer run. So what I did is I did the electrical work myself in putting in a 110 box. I used an existing circuit. You do need a dedicated, I think it's a 15 amp circuit with mine. I had an existing 20 amp circuit that was for a central vac system I no longer used. I was able to tap into that box, put an outdoor weatherproof box in, and use that for the dedicated circuit on the hot tub. And I had that kind of in my mind before I actually had the hot tub in position. I will say when I first got it, they recommend you not plug it into an extension cord. I did to get it up to heat. You let it run. I mean, I didn't have any problems doing it, but do so at your own risk. You should always follow the manufacturer's recommendations. And as far as the quality of the hot tub, I had idiots saying that these are horrible tubs, they're made poorly. At least with my experience with Aquaterra, I've had no problems. Remember, Aquaterra spas, and I don't know if they have ones that are made of fiberglass, they're made of like an injection molded plastic of some sort. And I may be misspeaking on that, but it's kind of plastic that bends. I kind of compare it to like a pond liner. You can really bend that plastic and it just doesn't break. It has a lot of flex to it. And that's great in a hot tub because if you're putting it on pavers, you want to make sure that whatever surface you're putting it on is completely flat and stable. But, you know, like my pavers, there's probably like in few spots a little, you know, 1/8 of an inch difference, 1/4 of an inch difference here and there. And, you know, you want the hot tub to be able to flex a little, at least in my opinion. Now, you're not going to put it on something that's completely, you know, all crooked. That's not a good idea. But in my case, it worked out perfectly. And the thing is with fiberglass, if you've ever looked at fiberglass, I know a lot of tubs, I'm sure we'll get a lot of backlash for this, a lot of tubs are made of fiberglass, but fiberglass doesn't really flex all that well, and it ends up cracking. With this material, it is extremely durable, extremely forgiving, you know. So now the thing is, with my tub, it was only $2,000. I think it came to $2,200 with the tax. That was including free shipping from Costco. Did the work myself as far as hookup. And honestly, on the 110, the only disadvantage is the amount of time it takes to heat back up. So if you live in a climate where it's extremely cold and you're going to be using this thing quite a bit with the cover off, in climates like that, the temperature is going to drop a lot quicker. I keep mine at the max, which is 104. With a 110 system like this, basically what happens is, remember the hot tub doesn't heat up any, how's that work? The hot tub will draw 4,000 watts. And again, I'm speaking on mine, and I'm assuming it's kind of similar with most tubs, right? Depending on which one you get. But mine will draw 1,200 watts on 110 or 4,000 watts on 220. The difference is how quick it heats the water, right? And so naturally, you have a much higher wattage heater. It's going to heat the tub faster. The biggest difference that I find with that is, yeah, it's going to heat a lot quicker, but once you get the water temperature to 104, unless you live somewhere where the temperature is really cold, these are all insulated pretty well. And I can tell you that even when it gets pretty cold where I live, you know, freezing temperatures in the 30s, you know, I can have the cover off for about 45 minutes to an hour, and in that time frame, in that temperature with the tub running, I'll probably drop down about 3 degrees, right? The thing is, when you're running 110 on a lot of these tubs, is that the heater is not working. If you have it hooked up as 220, the heater is actually working while the pumps are running. So with my tub, you put it in low mode, like your standard mode, where it's going to circulate the water. Filter, it's going to do that, come on, you know, throughout the day and do that by itself. When you're in it, soaking and using it, you have the pumps on high. You're basically like turning it on, right? When you're doing that, the heater's not working. If you have it running on 220, it can do both at the same time. So that's the only downside. The cool thing about the 220 is you can be in it nonstop. It's going to continue to heat. It's not going to drop in temperature at all. With my case, using it, it's going to drop in temperature. Then you turn the pumps off again. It's going to start to heat. Put the cover back on. It's going to heat a lot quicker, right? So that's really the only difference. For my purposes and how I use it, there's really no reason for me to run it on 220 ever. There's no reason at all. Other people will use the word efficiency. It's not that it's more efficient. It doesn't heat the water more efficiently as far as the power consumption, which is kind of what I thought when I first heard that word used. It's just efficient in how fast it heats the water. So if you get your brand new hot tub, you hook it at 110, it's probably going to take about 24 hours to heat up. If you have it on 220, it's going to be a lot quicker. I'd probably say, you know, four times quicker, just guessing, right? Figuring if it's drawing 1,200 watts versus 4,000, it's going to heat a lot quicker. Again, it's going to maintain temperature. But there's a big expense in getting a 220 line. Now, even if you have a 220 line already, you're going to need a 220 socket for this tub, and it's going to need to be converted. Now, I didn't do that. I'm sure you could probably call an Aquaterra rep to have somebody do that. I'm sure it's not that hard. It probably involves changing some jumpers around. I didn't look into it because that's not something I was going to do. But 110 works fine. I have no problems with it. And I think that, you know, if you're concerned with that, you know, I would give the 110 a try. If you have a dedicated circuit, you'll be fine. That's the only thing you really need. Now, if you are putting this somewhere in your backyard and you don't have a dedicated circuit, that might mean that you have maybe you have several different plugs on one circuit. As long as there's nothing drawing on that, you can have several different plugs. Let's say you have a few outdoor plugs, right? As long as you don't have anything drawing on that circuit, you'll be fine running that. Just make sure you don't plug in like a toaster in that, because then you're sucking power from the circuit. You don't want to trip your breaker, and you don't want to damage the tub in any way. So usually houses have 15 amp breakers. Usually, if you draw more than that, your breaker will trip, right? And usually 15 amp breakers, you know, we're plugging in little 60 watt bulbs, computer. There's plenty of room there, right, for more devices. This draws so much current. that you need a dedicated circuit on that. Now, again, to me, I would think that if you have if you have a circuit you're plugging this into and there's nothing else on the circuit, or even if you have one light on there, as long as you're not pulling the full amount of amperage out of the circuit, I don't think you'll have a problem. But again, always follow the manufacturer's recommendations on this stuff. In my case, that's what I did. So as far as quality, 3.5 years, I've had no issues with this tub. It works just as good now as the day I got it. I have not developed, knock on wood, any kind of leaks. It still works perfectly, and you really can't go wrong with the price. Now, I will say that if you get a tub that has dual pumps, I'm sure other tubs out there have much more powerful jets and a lot more jets. This has about 20 jets. Again, my whole thing, I'm always happy with just my jet tub in my bathroom with only 4 jets. It circulates the water. You know, if you go to a hotel generally, or a spa, or not really a spa, but if you go to a hotel, most hotels have soaking tubs. And that's kind of what I consider this. It's not really a therapeutic massage tub. It's just kind of a soaking tub. You get that hot water, and the jets do make a difference on your back. What I'll do is, if I really want to have the jets be a little more powerful, I will turn off the other jets. And in my tub, you have 6 different jets that you can turn completely off. They're the ones that spin and rotate. They're like massage jets. It doesn't make the biggest difference, but it helps. And if I want to get if I'm feeling a little extra tense, I want that extra power, I'll just turn those down. But I usually just leave them on. Again, the temperature of the water, the heat, just being in the tub is so relaxing. And if you're not looking, again, to have the state-of-the-art stuff, you'll be really happy with something like this. And again, as far as quality, this is not rocket science here. These are not NASA space shuttles. You're circulating water and you're heating it, okay? So when guys come back and be like, oh, you know, you get what you pay for. Yeah, you do. You get a fantastic value that doesn't break the bank, that you don't have to make a monthly payment on for like 5 years, right? I mean, some of these hot tubs are $10,000, $15,000. I've looked at tubs like this, similar tubs, under different brands at local like mom and pop shops. They charge like $4,000 or $5,000 for them. So rest assured, as long as you don't mind doing some of the work yourself and using the muscle, maybe a couple buddies, setup is going to be I think your biggest hurdle, right? So that's about it, guys. I mean, pretty straightforward. If you guys have any other questions about the quality of the tub, about, you know, anything whatsoever, you know, drop me a comment, drop me an email. I'm always here to help. Videos like this help people, direct people in the right direction. And, you know, a lot of people, like, prior to getting something like this, I've always wanted a hot tub. But I just could never rationalize the price on hot tubs. Honestly, those little mom and pop stores, going in there, I never seen anything under $5 grand. And usually it's like the little tiny round one. You know, so something like this, it gets one in your backyard. It's affordable. And it's not about being able to afford it. Like, I mean, most people can make a payment on something like this. And if it's really important to you and you want the better one, by all means, buy what's going to make you happy. Aquaterra does have other models as well, dual pump versions. I wanted the most inexpensive basic hot tub. The price was the biggest attraction to me, and I've been super happy with it. And you know what? I mean, it didn't break the bank. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Drop me a comment, drop me an email. I'm always here to help you guys. I don't know if you can still find the Aquaterra Adriana. They might have a different tub, but either way, I'm at your disposal. You guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and take care.